Look at you guys. This is incredible. Welcome to the Virginia Citizens Defense League's 18th annual lobby day. Gun owners of all races and creeds from Virginia and across the country are here to stand in solidarity against gun control. I want to thank all of you for coming out on such a cold day.
Well, we won't back down. We're gonna stand our ground. We know you're trying to open the gates of hell, but we won't back down. So yes, we'll stand our ground. We won't be pushed around. We must keep you from putting our kids in the ground, so we can't stand down. No, we won't back down. We won't back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't stand down, brother. So we'll stand our ground. And no, we won't back down. 'Cause we know what's right. And we got plenty of fight. And if you think you're gonna keep pushing us around, well, you'll lose that crown. 'Cause we won't back down. We won't back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't back down, brother. We've gotta stand our ground. And no, we won't back down. You know, it's pretty clear. If these lunatics think they have the right to strip us of our rights of self-defense, and if they're willing to do that, what else are they willing to do? We won't back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't back down, brother. No, we won't back down. Back down, baby. There ain't no easy way out. We can't back down, brother. We've gotta stand our ground. So we won't back down. No, we won't back down. Virginians, you won't fight this fight alone.
All right. Hello, everybody. Good evening.
Good evening.
If you are just joining us, please make sure you share the live stream so we can get some more viewers on here.
I just put it out on Twitter as well.
Oh, good. Well, we might have Annette Elliott. I know she's got a lot going on with the gun show. We might have her join us. So the moment she pops on, I'll interrupt whatever we're talking about and just pop her on, because she said she only had about 5 minutes to give us. So just kind of get a heads up. If she joins us, we'll pop her in, let her say a few things about the gun show and what's going on, and then we'll go right back to our agenda. Speaking of, we are live on the VCDL Facebook page. We're also simulcast live on the VCDL YouTube channel. And while we wait for Annette, I just want to tell you that there is a new IP TV network called Simul TV, like simulcast, but Simul TV, that is a new over-the-top, over-the-air internet TV network founded by CEO Stephen Turner. And one of the cool things that they're going to do on this IP network is they are going to have a 2A channel that you see there down on the bottom of your screen. And that's basically going to be a worldwide 2A network focusing on the United States Constitution, with the emphasis on Second Amendment. The 2A network explores the right of the people to keep and bear arms. Simul TV will provide educational, historic, sporting, and recreational family programming supportive of the Second Amendment. And the reason it's important to us and why I mentioned it is because they have come to VCDL to get all of our digital content from our YouTube, our Facebook, our webpage, and add that to their 2A channel so we can just expand our reach, expand our membership, and basically help educate just John Q public out there about what we're all about.
Yeah, we might actually also be creating content for that channel. It's
Right.
a wonderful opportunity to reach out to a whole new group of people and be able to tell them about the vast experience that's firearms ownership. Everything from self-defense to talking about guns and how they work and maybe reviewing guns, to the laws, to the history of gun rights and the history of gun control, that shameful history, all that stuff. It's a wonderful opportunity to educate the public. And I suggested that, homeschoolers, this is a channel that the parents can let their children watch homeschooling to learn about a key part of their history and a part of their rights.
Well, I've tried to put them in touch with, Colin Noir and Hickok 45 and Jared from Guns and Gadgets, Baraka James, because this is a Virginia company, this network. So Baraka James here in Virginia. So a lot of these guys, Cam Edwards that was on the NRA. I'm trying to get all these content providers together to make that channel just be the POW of the 2A.
Yeah, so this is exactly what one of the key things we need to be doing. And this would be kind of groundbreaking, really. I've seen channels do stuff on 2A occasionally, but this is going to be a 24/7 2A channel.
Right. So also, while we wait for Annette, I know that there was people have been asking me, obviously because I live in Loudoun County, but they asked me about the Loudoun Board of Supervisors meeting. And basically, what's that?
Oh, yeah, I'll be glad to cover that if you want.
Oh, sure. I was just going to give like the 2-line what Ed knows Reader's Digest version, but if you've got a bigger chunk of meat, go for it.
Okay. Well, I mean, certainly. Yeah, I'm in fact, I'm looking at what will be tomorrow's VA alert update. I got a few more items to add. It's amazing how many things are going on right now. In Loudoun County, last night they were determining if they even wanted to go forward with some sort of ordinance on gun control, local gun control. And it became clear pretty quickly that 6 of them did and 3 of them didn't. And during the meeting, it was suggested by some on our side that they put in an exemption for concealed handgun permit holders, things like that. And the chair didn't want anything to do with any changes at this point. She said, "Oh, well, that'll happen after we make an announcement and people show up to actually comment on the actual bill. Then we can make changes to it." Sounded like horse pucky to me, but anyhow, that's how it went. So I think there's going to be a fight over this. I do think there's a possibility that if they pass it, they may exclude parks from it, but just cover government buildings and put in metal detectors in the buildings. But that's sort of my. I also
had that former mayor Kristen Umstad, who I've called to task when she was the mayor of Leesburg about no gun signs. So she's kind of not as far left as some of the others, but between her, Caleb Kirshner, and Tony Buffington, who's been a pretty good guns rights guy and a cop, they were the ones that were kind of pushing for the CHP. And my own supervisor, Coran Sains, and some of the others were like, "Oh no, we're not going to do that.
Not going to do that now." But what was interesting is, I don't know how many. I didn't keep an exact count, but I think somewhere around 17 people called in or were there in person to speak, and every single person spoke against the resolution or the proposed ordinance. A couple of them went off on the, I don't care about government buildings, just don't do it in parks. And so they're sort of throwing, everybody else's rights under the bus because they thought that it's okay to to ban guns in government buildings, because we all know that nobody ever attacks a government building, right?
And those people don't work in government buildings, so they don't really care what happens to the people in the government building.
And even if they put metal detectors in the government building, once you leave that building to go to your car, if somebody wanted to kill you, all they have to do is wait out in the parking lot and ambush you. And this has happened to people. So this is an artificial thing. If they really wanted to do that right, they'd have to put lock boxes in the lobby so that you come in, lock your gun up, and then pass through security, and then you can rearm before you leave the secure building. That would be, none of this is any good, quite honestly, but at least that would provide some sort of protection for people. Because my question to the board of supervisors was, who are you trying to protect with all this stuff? Who are you protecting? You're sure not protecting the public. You're not protecting good people who carry a gun for self-defense. You're not protecting them at all. So who are you protecting? And of course, yeah. Well, they owe George.
I thought that was a question. Sorry.
Yes. Well, they certainly owe him, and I think that's what a lot of this is. A lot of them have been bought and paid for.
Well, it would be easier to stomach if there was liability. In other words, if the locality banned guns and you were victimized because you were disarmed by complying with the rules, then the county or the city would be liable for your safety. That would be easier to stomach.
To pay for your funeral expenses. And somebody noted, Nick Redford noted that, they're obviously protecting tyrants and criminals. And that's true. They're really out. They're happy to put up and do anything to protect themselves. I mean, you can guarantee that anything done will include their government buildings, and with metal detectors, guaranteed. We've seen this before. They were all acting like, well, Congress has got this, so why shouldn't we? Well, boy, talk about, having a very high approval of themselves. That was a classic example of it. And so then they like to also, I noticed they were busy quoting the Heller case with what is, as I recall, is dicta, where they basically, dicta is a discussion. It's not actually part of a ruling. It's just sort of discussion of some thoughts on an item, and that's where we government buildings and other areas like that, it's not violating the Second Amendment if you ban guns there, but that was dicta, and they're acting like that was actually part of the ruling. The government buildings aren't violating the Second Amendment by having gun bans there. So there was a lot of that. They would normally never quote the stuff from a pro-gun judge, except if they felt it benefited them, was, look, even he allows us to ban guns in the building. But it was good hearing their arguments, so we'll have some ideas on what we can counter-argue, knowing how they're thinking and what they're going to be bringing up when this comes up before the board. And I've got the date. I'll have it right in front of me. It's in December. It's like December 13th or something. So we're going to need people to get off their rear ends and show up, make phone calls. Unless you want gun control in Loudoun, you're going to need to act. You're going to need to act. Don't sit back and let anybody else carry your water. If you live in Loudoun, you need to act. And there will be an alert coming out on this.
Or if you work in Loudoun or travel in Loudoun and have friends in Loudoun, then this is part of your daily life, you still come.
Right.
Let's show up like we did for the Second Amendment sanctuary. Let's show up like that. Because I think we had like 25 people show up last night. That's okay.
People become complacent.
Yeah, they're not paying attention. I know we're all busy. And if you don't
Holidays
mind,
are coming, COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The point is our enemies are taking advantage of all this stuff, the COVID and everything else. And we're letting them do it if we don't get out and fight. We need to stand up and fight on this. So looks like we've been joined by somebody that must like guns.
Yep. Hi, Annette.
I'm trying to figure out how to use the phone here. all look like
That's
a
okay.
different.
If you flip it the other way, it'll be Longwise, or you can keep it that way, however you want.
There we
There you
That's
go.
better.
So
Can you see me?
everyone,
Yeah.
yep, we can see. We
Yep.
can see you fine. Everybody, this is Annette Elliott, and Annette Elliott is with Showmasters. She's been a friend of mine for many, many years since she was born. So now she's 29, and she owns the gun show. And there's been a lot of chatter about the gun show on the internet. So I figured we'd have her on for 5 minutes and just say hi.
Hello.
So you want to tell us what's going on in the gun show world, or you just want to say hi?
No, I'll tell you what's going on in the gun show world. We have a lawsuit that has been filed in Fairfax County to allow us to operate the way that the Walmart operates, just right across the parking lot. There's a Walmart that's 50,000 square feet less, and we're in 130,000 square feet, and we are asking the state to allow us and to allow that building for similar events and all the other buildings in the state, as a matter of fact, because there's quite a few very large buildings in the state of Virginia that right now are being told that they're amusement and entertainment is how they are defining these buildings. And let's face it, most of the time you're not having some wedding or a birthday party and renting out something like the Dulles Expo Center. It's 130,000 square feet. It costs a good bit of money, and they're normally retail operations. So that's what we want to do. We want to be classified as a brick and mortar retail business, which is what we are. The actual building, the zoning on it is retail. But for some reason, they just took this very wide brushstroke, I think, to the whole state, and did not really look at these large buildings where we have plenty of space to social distance. We have done 2 shows in August, and then we had, and this is the Dulles Expo Center, and then we had another one in October. The first one had over 12,000 people, but we staggered them the entire time at the occupancy limits that we were allowed in, and kept it down the way it was supposed to be. People were allowed to social distance. We had the hand sanitizers everywhere. We have plexiglass on the counters. We're doing all the things that we're supposed to do. We have everybody put on a mask when they come in. We try very hard to get them to wear the mask. A lot of people don't want to, but that's what the mandate is. So we really should, try to comply with it and do that at this point until we get a further ruling. So we've done everything we could, and the 2 shows that we've run there at that building had no known spread. And I've actually run 7 other shows, 2 at the Berglund Center in Roanoke, Virginia, 2 in Monroeville, Pennsylvania. It's called the Pittsburgh Gun Show at the Monroeville Convention Center, Fishersville, Virginia. So we've had a lot of shows, and the health.
Oops. I think we lost Annette.
I think so.
Looks like George Soros got to her.
Yeah, but I was talking to her before she came on when we first talked about this, and if she logs back in, we'll pop her back in. But the biggest thing she said is because this is a fluid environment with this COVID and it's constantly changing. So basically, before you get in your car and head down to a show, log into their Facebook or log onto their website. I think it's Showmasters. So you Google it, showmasters.com. And once you log in, you can see that they'll update you with what's ever coming so that you don't, drive an hour and find out that something's changed or you need a mask or need to wear double masks or whatever the ruling is, you'll find all that out. So while we wait a minute for her to pop back in, I'm constantly getting a barrage of messages. Your Facebook's going to be shut down because your VCDL, you're on Facebook, your VCDL is going to be shut down. Everybody's exiting the Parler and Twitter and everything else. Pretty much wherever you want to go, Parler, Twitter, MeWe, YouTube, Instagram, VCDL has a presence. We even have a members-only presence on the VCDL.org webpage. You go to the top right corner, log in. You can go to the members only forum. A lot of members are a lot more polite than just people that are not members that come to troll our pages otherwise. So you can have a regular conversation without getting trolled by someone on the what happens on the public pages sometimes, even though we have a lot of moderators trying to stop that. But probably as most social media, we have a presence on there. Well, we do spend a lot more time on Facebook because we have 64,000 followers instead of 280 or 3,010 and some of the other ones, but they're growing and they're moving. Facebook's pretty much told us as long as we follow the rules, that we will survive here and follow the rules. So that's what we're doing here. This is where we reach you guys.
Yeah, and we need to do what you're doing. What you've been doing is pushing us out into other platforms too. The wider and again, different people I think are attracted to different platforms. So we want to reach as many as we can of all persuasions. By the way,
It looks like Annette's going to make it back.
Okay.
I think.
Yep.
There she is. Welcome back.
I don't know where I could hear y'all and see you, but you couldn't hear and see me.
You disappeared.
Oh. Well, I don't know if you heard, but when you dropped off, I just went ahead and told people because we don't know. It's a fluid environment for them just to check your Facebook and your webpage for any and all updates.
Right. And that's every event. That's everything you go to do now. You know, it really seems like they don't know is the truth. You get one department and a different from another, and it just keeps going like that. So
Government shooting from the hip? Oh, heaven forbid.
Well, I know you're very busy trying to get all that going, and I appreciate you coming out for 5 minutes and just saying hi to everybody and telling us what's up. So we wish you the best of luck, and if we can ever help you here, just let us know.
All right. Look forward to
And Annette, I don't know if you can.
Go ahead, Pat.
I don't know if you can see the comments, Annette, but Nick said, Annette, thank you. You have not wavered in your beliefs and have stood strong while trying to comply with unconstitutional orders. The gun show draws so many new people into the world of being a Second Amendment supporter. So you are appreciated by a lot of people out there. It's not an easy job what you do, and we absolutely appreciate it. And we appreciate the support that you've given VCDL over the years. You've been a major part in helping us get the word out.
Well, you're a wonderful, and I love the email blast, the Virginia alerts that you send out. They are so informative and they're really good for everybody. Hopefully, people keep passing that along and tell other people to join and sign up for those alerts and sign up for VCDL and help protect our rights, because it really is about freedom and liberty.
All right. Thanks again.
Nice seeing you, Annette.
Hey, thank you. All right, we're going to head
Bye-bye.
out to the show. Y'all have a good weekend. I hope to see you guys there. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
So for those of you in Fairfax, our beloved Fairfax County, the wonderful flower of liberty that sprouts from Fairfax County. So the nice thing about having 60,000 people on VA Alert is I get lots of intel. And so it turns out that a very low key, very quietly, Fairfax County has slipped in a semi-automatic rifle and magazine capacity ban into their wish list for the legislative session coming up in the General Assembly. So that'll be in the alert coming out, some information about that. So that's your wonderful Fairfax County fighting against your rights again. They just can't handle you guys having any kind of rights up there. They want to be your benevolent dictators. We also are going to have something in the alert. The Chesapeake Circuit Court clerk had contacted. I contacted him initially because somebody was complaining on Facebook that they wanted to schedule to get their permit. They needed to schedule a meeting with the clerk, and they couldn't do it till December something. And so I said, what? So I contacted the clerk, and let me just say that he was extremely nice. He's very, very supportive of VCDL, very, very supportive of what we're doing and supportive of gun owners. And so he was explaining to me what the issue is. And he said that if you're a new permit holder, you can apply through the mail right now. But he said the problem that he's having, he gave me a list of things that people should be careful when they're filling out the forms and everything, because if you don't do it right, then he gets kicked back. Then there's delays and hassles and stuff like that. And so I'm going to publish that. But one of the things he said is like 60% or more of the people mailing in their application for a permit in Chesapeake aren't following the instructions. They're not filling in all the blanks. They're leaving things out when it clearly required something. In one case, somebody that put their height as 156 and their weight at 54 pounds or something. So 56. Yeah, so anyhow, it's just a simple mistake, he said, but it's a legal form. And so they really can't they can guide you, but they can't go in and just change your form, especially the part where you answer questions, yes or no. Have you ever been adjudicated mentally defective? Any of that stuff. If you leave something blank on there, they cannot fill that in for you, because that is subject to perjury, and it's got to be you that perjures yourself. You can't they can't perjure you. So
that's actually a court filing. And when we give our concealed handgun classes, generally we'll tell people you can open that form as a fillable PDF on the internet. And on your computer, use your computer to fill it out and use the tab to move between each field. And that way you won't miss any fields. And make sure that you fill everything in. Make sure that you read the instructions and double check everything before you send it in.
Yeah, where it says scars and stuff like that, you've got to put something in there. You cannot leave it blank. You can say none or non-applicable, but you can't leave it blank. So he said that's the biggest thing. If people would do that, these things could be processed really quickly, and they would get him out. He's really, I
thought when they were asking about scars, they were asking about types of rifles. I'm like, yeah, 2 of them.
That's true. And they're oddly shaped like a firearm. So anyhow, the details will be in there. For those of you that aren't in Chesapeake, you still might want to share it, because I think the advice in there is good. Now, he does have that they require an SASE, and I know we've been down this road about the requirement for an SASE, but honestly, at this point, I didn't feel like fighting that battle over there. I just want you guys to be able to get your permits. And right now, things are tough. People want them. Let's just get the job done and make sure that people can protect themselves. We can worry about details later on that level.
650,000 permit holders, right?
I'm sorry?
The
650,000?
Yeah, no, we're at 700,000 now. We've broken the 700,000 barrier on permit holders. 700,000. In a few years, we'll be sitting at 1 million.
Now, are all those permit holders allowed to vote?
I would hope so. Yes, they are. If you have a permit, Ed, I'm suspicious that maybe some of them didn't, and that's totally inexcusable. It's inexcusable. So let's hope that nobody that hears this was in that position. What were you going to say, Pat?
Philip, you were talking about the self-addressed stamped envelope, SASE. That's one of those things that if they require it for all court filings, then it's permissible. If they only require it for that particular filing, then you could contest it. Same with charging a convenience fee. Some courts allow you to pay with a credit or a debit card, and they'll charge you a convenience fee. If they do that for all the filings, then it's permissible. Check with your court also, because some courts don't take anything but a money order or cash, which means if you're mailing it in, you have to send a money order or certified funds. You can't send a personal check. So most of the localities have a website with instructions on the website. If they don't, you can always call the clerk's office and ask them if there's any particular things like that, like methods of payments that you need to know about beforehand. And that'll save you time and get your turnaround faster. The other thing I wanted to say is I'm seeing a lot of people from a lot of places, Ohio, North Carolina, Georgia, and a lot of different counties in Virginia, different localities. I also saw somebody post they were from the Libertarians in Northern Virginia, I think it was. It's scrolled up off the screen now. But it's good to see people from a lot of different areas and a lot of walks of life that are joining in.
Sure. And if anything we do in Virginia is of any use to gun organizations where in your state, we're always happy to coordinate with any other gun organization. We do it frequently. Our goal is to win this for everybody. And it's not who gets credit. It's getting the job done. That's it. And so if you have a local gun organization and they would like to chat, they can give me a call or send me an email. We'll be happy to be on the phone with them and give them whatever help we can give.
So Mike Provenzano in the chat said he filled out his form and they made him fill it out again because he filled out the wrong one that was on the website. And I said, make sure you always get the form from the Virginia State Police site, so you always get the most current one. He says he did. So that's the first I've heard of that.
I've not heard of that.
Sometimes you have to clear your cache. If you might have an
That's
old form stored in the cache on your computer. So it's a good idea to do that every once in a while anyway. But that may be what happened if you have been to that site before and downloaded it. The form changed, what, a year ago, July, the form changed when they passed a law that
recently changed again.
Yeah, because now you don't have to have it notarized. So you'll know you have the right form if it doesn't call for a notarization of your signature. But you do have to send in a copy of your driver's license.
And your old permit if you had one, because sometimes they file them away. And if you want to show your proof of training or whatever else, sometimes they'll still ask for that.
Yep. So I'm kind of looking at a few items in the alert here. So I'll just kind of put them out there for people to hear before they read it tomorrow. Public notice of the Norfolk Second Amendment ordinance. This was the thing that they got, I forget, 2,000, 3,000 signatures. That's basically forcing Norfolk City Council to consider an ordinance protecting the Second Amendment. And this is kind of a drag them along kicking and screaming, but that's what this is. And it's gotten published now, as the law requires. They've now published in the papers notice of this proposed Second Amendment ordinance. So this is, again, this is activism in action, man. This is people out there getting the job done, and hats off to the people down in Norfolk that are doing that, including the Republican Party. We need more of this.
So Annette just texted me. You can't really, I know you can't see that on the phone really, but basically what it said was she forgot to say that this lawsuit thing with the gun show and all that is going to cost a minimum of $35,000. And they're going to be posting a link on their GoFundMe. They're going to do a GoFundMe to try and help recoup those costs, because while you might think it, nobody's getting rich driving up, setting up at a gun show and trying to sell guns at even in a competitive market. Nobody's getting rich at it. So they need all the help they can get. So she just asked me to share that, keep an eye out for that.
Okay.
Yeah, plus she's not just fighting for herself. She's fighting for all of us to have the right to continue to operate our businesses and function, and not have the fear of the government just arbitrarily waving a magic pen and decreeing this business is allowed to prosper and this business is not.
Yeah, well, not only that, there's a particular hatred for gun shows. And that hatred is because liberty goes on there. People talk, people share information, people coordinate things. This is where gun owners speak the truth and have a chance to talk to other people and make sure everybody's on the same page, understanding what's going on. That freedom of speech drives the other side out of their minds, which doesn't take much. But so that's another reason they hate them and love to shut them down. So I have an article that a record number of Second Amendment bills, anti-Second Amendment bills, are being filed in Congress, record numbers. Now, will those go anywhere? Don't know. But, the attack on our rights is not slowing down anytime soon. Another article reminds us that Biden had wanted to put in a crippling tax on guns. I mean, a crippling. Imagine this: go to your gun safe and count up how many magazines you have that hold more than 10 rounds. All of them. Count them up. Take that number and multiply by 200. That's the tax that you'll have to pay on those magazines. Now count up any ARs, AKs, anything of that semi-automatic rifle type thing, multiply those by $200. And that's, again, part of the tax you'll pay if he gets his way. So that's just an article for you to look at. The question is, will he be able to pass that? And so much, and this was something else we were going to talk about, so much of that depends on what's going on in Georgia. Right now, control of the Senate is down to 2 races in Georgia. The Republicans have to win one to hold on to the Senate. Right now, it's tied. If they lose both of those seats, it's tied. But unfortunately, if the elections end up going the way the media would like them to go, then Kamala will have the vote to break the tie. And we know how she's going to break the tie every single time. So in essence, the Republicans will be unable to do anything with a tie vote unless Trump pulls something off. If he doesn't, then we have to take at least 1 seat in Georgia, preferably 2. I think a large number of seats came back to the Republicans in the House. That's good news. They're not going to get the majority, doesn't look like. But there was definitely the Democrats really got a slap in the face on that. And it's looking like cheating is the only way they're going to make the president thing work for them, too, from what we're seeing around different states, such as what's going on in Michigan and Pennsylvania and so forth.
Speaking of cheating, let's talk about Lobby Day a little bit. We've had a lot of roadblocks. Last year, we had a ton of roadblocks thrown up, and we managed to overcome them all and had a huge turnout. This year, we've got all those roadblocks and then some, and then COVID on top of that. So the situation is very fluid. We will have Lobby Day, but we're not exactly sure what that's going to look like yet. So people will just have to stay tuned. If you're not already subscribed to the VA Alert, go ahead and subscribe. Also, join if you're not a member or if your membership has lapsed. We really could use that support to help us maneuver in this political climate that we're in. And we have the exact same legislature this coming session that we had last session. So it's going to be a tough session. So stay tuned, watch your updates, and we will let you know what's going to happen on Lobby Day. But it's a fluid situation with the COVID restrictions and everything else. But plan on being in Richmond on Martin Luther King Day.
Yeah. And in fact, I had somebody today from Missouri saying, "Oh, we want to come to Lobby Day. Are there any updates?" And I think you're going to see a lot of that. A lot of people are looking forward to coming from out of state, looking to come here because it was such a fantastic event. Somebody's asking about pistol braces. Nothing, no updates that I know of on pistol braces. Right now, one company or maybe a couple were told to not produce anymore. Then that was retracted for 60 days, which conveniently comes up after the election. So don't know. I can tell you that there's an article about the BATF working with the Biden campaign to try to do something about pistol braces. So that's our government working against us again. The BATF, the organization that should be making it easy for gun owners to be able to exercise their Second Amendment rights, is instead right now focused on ways to take that right away from us They're doing the opposite of what government should be doing. That government is our servant, not our master. And the BATF has a really bad habit of forgetting that and thinking that as unelected bureaucrats, they're God. They're not God. And we're going to be watching this.
Right. Frank mentioned that he's handicapped and worried about attending lobby day. Frank, there should not be that barrier this year. But stay tuned to the VA alerts, and we'll have more details as we get closer to the event.
Yeah, the board's going to have a meeting. We've got a lot to talk about. We're going to have one very shortly here in a couple of days.
And once we do, just like in years past, we'll have a sheet that's a full frequently asked questions sheet about everything: where to go, what to wear, what to bring, where to park, how much money to donate, everything.
By the way, this whole thing is backfiring. When will the gun controllers learn? I know they're not going to learn. That's just a question I didn't expect an answer to, because I think we all know it. They're not going to learn their lesson. But apparently there was a poll, and gun control has declined to its lowest level of support in years, including wanting to ban handguns. I mean, that's really down in the mud. There's like it's just not wanted by very many people at all. Just a hardcore.
Well, it's because if all the people are defunding the police, and then they're looking around and they're like, wait a second, if we get rid of all the police and everything else, who's going to defend myself? And they're realizing that and buying their own guns.
That's right. And it's waking up people. And
Yeah.
Another interesting article was one that I guess a week ago, some guys decided to do a protest in Richmond, carrying ARs and so forth. And they walked down the sidewalk. I think there were like 30 or 40 of them, and there were no arrests made. And Richmond is the one with an ordinance about if you do an event that should be permitted or is permitted, then no guns are allowed. So I thought that was interesting. This was probably the police showing common sense and the fact that some of these things are just, they probably couldn't enforce it anyhow. They had to put signs up ahead of time.
Well, I have a lot of cop friends, and you'd be surprised at how many of them are on our side.
Oh yeah, no, I expect a lot of
lawful gun owners make their job safer.
And that, by the way, speaking of that, yeah, I had one of the articles I had in there. I noted that VCDL has been saying this for a very long time, that the chief of police isn't necessarily a cop. It depends. Some of them are, and some of them are just politicians with a badge. They really have no tie to law enforcement, and some of them are on our side. There's some really good chiefs of police out there, and there's some really bad ones. But don't assume a chief of police has any ties to law enforcement directly, other than being appointed to be a chief. Article about Everytown being terrified that Amy Coney Barrett will be a great Second Amendment judge. And also an article about an independent news outlet that was secretly funded by Michael Bloomberg in Everytown. See, it all totally makes sense. Bloomberg knows that what he's doing isn't getting traction. People really don't want it, but he's a tyrant. He's determined to push it upon us. And so if you can't get the news media to do everything you want, create your own news media, pretend it's not yours, and have them really go after gun rights. It all makes perfect sense. And I think, most of us already lost faith in the mainstream media. I know I have. Fox News right now is apparently in a free fall. Their shows are being outdone by MSNBC and stuff that hasn't happened in forever. And that's because people are saying, well, I'm not going to watch MSNBC, but I'm not going to watch Fox anymore based upon their behavior. Maybe not.
I saw a meme that I posted. It's like, would you close your eyes and be blindfolded and let someone feed you, and you have to guess at what they're feeding you? And like, gross. No, it's like, well, then why will you let the media do that? Right.
The media has failed America horrifically. They are they should be ashamed of themselves. This is a big failure. They're failures all the way across the board. I did put a fun video in there that you guys can look at. You got to have a little fun. You got to laugh every now and then. This was a Rube Goldberg set up using a shotgun. So the guy starts it with a shotgun, and all this stuff goes on, wheels turning and things spinning and dropping, and ends with a shotgun being used. It was kind of fun. I like to put stuff out every now and then that we can laugh at and have a lighter side, considering the dark winter that that Biden said we're heading into. He must have been thinking about him winning.
Well, we've got if it's going to be a cold winter, I know where you can get these beautiful knit hats for Lobby Day or whatever at the VCDL store, run by Bruce Jackson from the Fulfillment Center. And you go on there at vcdl.org and pick yourself up a hat or whatever you got there, what you need for Christmas gifts and stocking stuffers and everything else.
By the way, VCDL has promoted and supported a shooting club, a shooting team in Prince George, the Prince George 4-H shooting team. We did this because, again, it's so important to get young people into the firearm sports, into the firearm ownership, and enjoying the sport and being ambassadors for gun owners. And so we've supported the King George 4-H shotgun team, and they apparently had a very good year this year. And there'll be something in the alert you can read about on the team. So we proudly supported them.
Plus they have some new members. And it's really important to educate our youth, our young people, on the joys of proper shooting sports and gun safety and things like that, and instill in them the love of sport, and they're not only learning a teamwork or skill of using the gun, but they're also learning the responsibility, how to take care of it, how to be safe with it, and that sort of thing. And that carries forward into adulthood. So,
yeah, we're VCDL is looking at a lot of different things right now. We're looking at various options of reaching out to various groups that are not historically gun owners. And we'll have more on that at some point in the future, but we're definitely talking and looking at options to do that. We need, really, regardless of any other belief you've got, we need the vast majority of America to stand unified on one thing, and that's the right to protect your life. Because regardless of what else you feel or believe in, if you can't protect your life, it's not worth anything, and none of your other rights mean anything if you're dead. So on that, VCDL is making we definitely want to make some new inroads and start to turn things around. Pat has brought up the fact that, we should be thinking of gun control the same way we think of racism. You talk about gun control, people should basically walk away from you, and, talk about political correctness. Gun control should be something that's not politically correct if they want to play that game, because we know what it's about. We need to educate people, and we need to make people call it for what it is and walk away from it.
So Connie's asking if we're concerned about Lobby Day and anti-protesters. Like last year was fine, but this year has been a different story. And I'll start by saying that last year, even though everything was fine, we got all the same antis and the same people saying just basically shit stirs, for no other word, that we're saying, oh, this is going to happen and this is going to happen, and try and get everybody either to not show up or think that something's going to happen. We were the board and myself, we've all been in touch with the police and what our plans were and what their plans were. And we could have not gotten nicer comments from the law enforcement that were on the scene there for how we handled ourselves. And I don't know that we had any problems. In fact, I think only one arrest happened, and that was because a lady wouldn't wear her mask or something that had nothing to do with our event.
Yeah, she was like 2 or 3 blocks away, and this was an hour and a half after everybody left. Right. So this was the news media saying we cannot say there were no arrests. They have to say one something, and so they dug around.
Yeah, something. So, by the way, on that arrest. The charges were later dropped, and so it was a non-problem. But they will try to scare people away by saying that there are threats of violence. It worked for them last year to an extent. We should have had 100,000 people there last year, but a lot of people didn't come, so we ended up with 50,000. So I say this year, don't listen to the threats and the scare tactics that they use. Just come and enjoy the day and make your voices heard.
Yeah, going up against 100,000 people that are armed, I don't know that that's going to go anywhere. Also, yeah, this is not like other places where people are unarmed, like DC when they attacked people there that went to a Trump rally afterwards. They waited until they were in smaller groups and the police weren't right there and they attacked. That's going to be a really, really bad idea in Richmond on January 18th. That's really going to be a bad idea to do that because people will be armed. We're by no means going to ask people to come unarmed to this, especially in this crazy climate we've got now. They're again, yes, don't listen to all the stuff. There's going to be, numbers of us, and we are going to be armed, and as we should be exercising that right. They're going to try. Believe me, they're trying all kinds of stuff now to stop us. They really are, and that's why we're having to carefully step through what we're going to do. And so be patient. Believe me, we're working on this, and we'll let you know as soon as we have some concrete plans. And of course, the other side is waiting for us to announce that so they can try to figure out ways to stop us.
You were talking about humor earlier, Philip, but Jason just threw up a good one-liner. It's like last year you're arrested for not wearing a mask. This year you're arrested for not wearing one.
Yeah, that's probably why they cut her loose. By the time it went to court, the judge probably all standing there shaking his head. We're supposed to be commending you for wearing that mask and not arresting you.
Yeah, who in their wildest dreams think you'd walk around with a gun with a mask on and be like, yeah, that's what we want you to do now.
Yeah,
we have had all the attorneys and everybody look at it that is not a code violation to comply with the mask order while carrying. That's another question that gets asked a lot.
Yeah, because rightfully so, gun owners are suspicious, and they of the government and of motives, especially the government we've got now in Virginia. Of course, you should be suspicious of being set up or entrapped. So we try to check for all that. We're every bit as suspicious in leadership as you are.
All right. Well, we got just about 6-7 minutes till we're on the 9 o'clock hour. Do we want to look for any questions or throw in any last minute
yeah, go
advice?
ahead and look for questions. Let's see. Questions will sometimes lead us down roads of advice anyhow.
Right.
Let me
Teresa,
touch on membership.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just saying, Teresa asked if anybody else is having their comments deleted. We pretty much leave comments unless they're going to get us in trouble with the social media platforms with something illegal or whatever, but we pretty much don't touch the comments.
So membership is pretty much caught up right now. So if you have joined over, say, 3 to 4 weeks ago and you've not gotten your membership card, send a email to membership@vcdl.org. I think the last run that we did was the last probably 2 weeks. So they'll be going out tomorrow in the mail. So also we have the new forum that Ed mentioned at the beginning of the segment here. If you are a paid VCDL member, you can log into the vcdl.org website with the email address that you gave us when you signed up. And you can participate in the members only forum. It's a nice place where you can go and without having to worry about the Facebook trolls and things and communicate with other members. So
there was an article also that I was going to mention. Our beloved Attorney General Herring was patting himself on the back that, oh, look at, or actually maybe doing the King Kong or the thing where he was saying, well, yeah, we stopped another gun challenge in court. Well, he didn't stop it. It turned out the judge ruled that the people bringing the suit, this was on red flag laws, did not have standing. That's not magic by Herring. That's simply not having standing. But he wants to take credit for it because he wants to run for governor. So he's trying to take credit for, stuff that's nothing to be proud of. But that's what happens when politicians, I guess, want to run for office. They try to puff themselves up and look more important than they are. But that was on a technicality, and that's one reason that VCDL is waiting on red flag stuff on lawsuits. Some of this stuff requires standing, and there's just no point in charging in just to have the case thrown out right away because you don't have standing. So we've got good attorneys that are working on this kind of stuff, and when we can get standing, we'll be there.
The other thing I wanted to mention about membership that I forgot temporarily was that the mailed notices have just gone out. Normally, they would have gone out about a month ago. But for all the people that didn't renew with the emailed notices, the mailed notices just went out this week. So watch your mailbox for those. And if you're one of those people that doesn't like to do things online, you should be getting that in the mail shortly.
I see a question about Odie Dillon is asking if Merle Rutledge for governor is somebody VCDL is backing. VCDL is a nonprofit. We cannot, as an organization, be partisan or endorse candidates and so forth. We can tell you what they say or do. We can survey them, but we can't make an endorsement. The VCDL PAC does that. That's a different bailiwick, if you will. But VCDL does not take a position on that.
Right. And the VCDL PAC will not endorse any candidate that did not fill out the candidate survey. So, there were some people talking about Virginia Beach mayor's race. And for whatever reason, we did not get a survey from the incumbent. And he's good on guns and everything, but he didn't turn his survey in. So there was no way that the PAC could endorse him. So if that's the case, if you have somebody in your locality that has not turned in the survey, get on them and tell them, fill that thing out and send it in so that you can get an endorsement.
Yeah, and of course the PAC is, VCDL needs to survey the people that are going to be running for next year. Remember, we're talking 2021 here. So that's not all been done yet. So it's way too premature anyhow to be endorsing anybody at this stage of the game because other people are going to throw their hats in the ring. We want to basically give everybody a chance that's running to be looked at by the PAC to decide if they're going to endorse or not endorse. They can also not endorse anybody in a race, especially if they're all equally good or maybe equally bad. So, but anyhow, so stay tuned. It's way too early to be thinking about who to endorse for governor.
I think we got them all.
I'm just kind of looking to see if there's anything I might want to answer in here. Yeah, we support all legal carry as part of a conversation going on there.
Yep. I am seeing a lot of people that are joining us from YouTube, which is very nice. It was good that Ed figured out a way to simulcast this both on Facebook and YouTube for the people that have jumped off of Facebook or never got on it in the first place. So that gives us two platforms. Not that YouTube is all that much better, but they are the choices right now. So I see we have a question here. How can we?
In this day of simulcasting, I think that's going to grow larger. That we're going to be able to do it larger.
Mm-hmm.
What were you going to say, Pat?
Looks like we have a question from Adolf that how can we demand any legislator provide evidence that proves their ideas hold any water? Well, you can't. Unfortunately, they can introduce any bill that they want. And hopefully, the rest of the legislative body has enough presence of mind to say that's not a good idea and vote it down. And the vast majority of things never make it out of committee. So
at the Loudoun County Board of Supervisors meeting, we had some really good speakers there. And one of them brought up a point along this line where he said to them, we should be looking at gun laws using science and data and facts. And he said, and he was pointing about concealed handgun permit holders. And we've got the numbers. We know they don't commit crime. We know that. So why are we not basing our laws on known science? Because right now, that's what the Democrats are pushing all over the place. Oh, science. But yet they don't seem quite as interested in science when it doesn't agree with their philosophy. But I plan to steal that. And you'll use that on the General Assembly. Want to talk science? Let's talk science. We got the numbers. The state police have the numbers.
Yep. So Odie has pointed out that there is also Rumble now instead of YouTube. Yes, there is. However, the platforms that broadcast these shows, you have to deal with what they are compatible with. And right now, Facebook and YouTube are the options that we have. So we're utilizing the options we have. And as more come available, you'll see us doing live broadcasts on more platforms.
That's correct. And like I said at the beginning of the show, in case you missed it, there's a new internet network TV, Simul TV, that is going to carry a 2A channel worldwide, and they're going to have our content on their channel as well.
Yeah, the one question does come up about lobby day is people were concerned that Richmond has this ordinance about I mentioned a while ago about the having an event that is permitted or should be permitted. We're just set that concern aside for now and just let the board get back with you on this. Let's just say not necessarily.
Well, besides that, all of us here at VCDL certainly wish you and your family that with all this going on, there's still plenty to be thankful for. So have a great, safe, happy Thanksgiving. Stay tuned with us. Stay tuned to the VA alert. If there's things that are happening in your area and you get out that VA alert that has an action item in it, step away from the turkey for a minute, click on the action item and take the action. And like Philip said, carry your own water. Don't wait for someone else to do it for you. Everyone jump in on the action items because everyone's doing things by Zoom and everything's doing things electronically. So it's more important that you take care of the action items now via electronically, since you can't necessarily show up in person as often as you used to be able to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And grassroots movements are from the roots, and you guys are the roots. So you've never let VCDL down in the past. You've always been there when we put out a call to action, and we need that more now than ever. We need to flood the inboxes and take those actions when Philip puts out those action alerts.
Yeah, sometimes we have very little lead time on things, and I apologize, but sometimes I think that's intentional on the other side. Like here, like this thing I mentioned earlier about Fairfax County slipping in this request for an assault weapon ban and magazine capacity limitations and all that stuff. Apparently they haven't been talking real loudly about that. That slipped in on page 18 or 19 of their document. So sometimes we learn things a little late in the game. But we need to make it clear, as we tend to do, and this is part of our strength, is that if you touch the Second Amendment anywhere, there's going to be a third rail effect. And as long as we all get off our duffs and do these contacts the way we need to, we keep that third rail energized so nobody wants to touch it. If we start getting lackadaisical and thinking other people are going to help, the third rail loses its juice. They're not going to worry. They'll touch it and not worry about it. We've got to make it painful anytime they do this stuff. So
Right.
Absolutely. And we've seen in the past that all of these things tend to magically appear right before a holiday when everybody's otherwise occupied. We've got hunting season going on now. We've got Thanksgiving coming up, and then right after that, we've got Christmas. And that's when all of this stuff just kind of magically appears in these meetings. So if you're not already signed up for text alerts, if you're not already signed up for text alerts, log into the website and click that little box, and we'll get you added to the text alert list, and keep your eye on the VA alerts as well, and be ready to take action when you get the notice.
Yep.
And Ed puts them up on Facebook too when they go out, so you can watch there as well.
This is an interesting comment from Denmark 825. I'm thinking of starting a women's class out here in the country on our land. I keep hearing inner city women say they're interested. And I do believe there's a lot of people out there that are interested, but because of social pressures, they don't like to talk about it publicly. But if there's a way to reach out to them or a way to give an opportunity like that, I think you might be surprised at who actually steps out to do this, because they really want to. They're just in the closet right now, if you will. And we need people to step out of the closet, especially in these minority communities, to step out of the closet and be proud gun owners.
One of my neighbors
Absolutely.
and friends, his name is Brian, and he takes fellow teachers of his shooting, and they're all like, I'll go as long as you don't tell anybody I went with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My son, girls for a date when he was in college, that was his idea of a date, was they'd go to the range. But for Denmark 825, there is an organization called A Girl and a Gun. I know they have a chapter in Ashland. I don't know where you're located. I think there's also a chapter down in the Virginia Beach, Norfolk area, and there may be one up in the Northern Virginia area. But they are women from all walks of life with all interest in all types of shooting sports, maybe hunting, maybe skeet, maybe IDPA, or maybe just owning guns. And they meet once a month, and they have also, I know the one in Ashland has women's only classes at the Green Top shooting range. They have different sporting events. They may go down to a range in Montpelier and do skeet sometimes. They explore different shooting avenues. So that's a good group to hook up with for yourself and for other women that want to be around women in the shooting sports.
Yeah, and I think that's a common thing for women wanting to really not be around men when they're learning shooting. And gentlemen, that's our fault primarily.
Well, no offense, guys, but the testosterone can get a little thick sometimes. So.
Well, and we'll say, here, shoot this 458 Winchester Magnum rifle for your first shot, you know. And you know, we're laughing at that, but it's not funny when it hurts. And talking down to people never works. I think men have gotten a lot better at this in the shooting. I don't see as much of this anymore, but there used to be a lot of that, and that's not a good idea. You know, and although I must say it's hard to teach. If you're going to try and teach your spouse, you're better off to go to a third party.
Yeah, no, that's never a good idea.
You know, you should. It's just an issue with having an unpartisan. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but teach.
It's like teaching a friend to drive a clutch. You let somebody else do it.
Yeah,
that's right.
Just the way it is. You know, it's the human condition, I guess.
And for the record, my husband taught me both how to drive and how to shoot, and we haven't killed each other yet. So,
he knows you're better shots. That's why he's not doing anything to you.
Could
somebody,
be.
something flashed. These things are moving quickly. And Steve Warrington's trying to make some fathers jealous by saying his girl shoots Mosin Nagants. I'll tell you what, that's not a beginner's rifle to shoot. I've shot one of those, and it was most unpleasant. But his girls do it. So good, great for them. I guess they're very sturdy. All right, Chris, you put a good recoil.
It's funny that you said it's not funny that you said that, Philip, because this is like 12, 13-year-old Brookie with her Mosin Nagant, and it had a pretty good kick to it, and she was very proud of shooting that thing.
Well, she should be.
Yeah.
Yeah, you ready to write.
All right. Well, should we wrap it up?
Yeah, I guess we wished everybody a happy Thanksgiving, and we'll do this again every month. In fact, I think even when we finally get out of this hole that we're in as far as having meetings, and we start having meetings, we should still do this one.
I think
because with this we can reach out to everybody across the state. Some places we just simply can't have a meeting in that are maybe so remote from everywhere else, or our fellow gun owners, our brothers and sisters in other states that want to tune in and see what's going on here. I appreciate all of them.
Sure, I agree.
They're in fight with us.
Okay, then.
All right, guys.
Good night,
Happy
everybody.
Thanksgiving to everyone.
Good night.